Chess, nonsense, and analysis. Yeah, it's heating up. I'm going to make a brief broadcast, two rounds of the Moja extravaganza. So I'll be looking at round seven and then round eight, and very, very interesting. In round seven, so basically both our games are going to be happening on board one in the main section. That is where really most of the action happened. And it's all around this man, Metfi Rogov. And well, in round seven, he played against Chola Musonda from Zambia. A very, very interesting game. And let's have a look at what happened in this game. So, yeah, the game, I did look briefly at the game before when it was happening, and it's a very sharp game. I haven't analyzed the game with the computer or anything, so yeah, you'll have to bear with me. I won't go into detailed tactical analysis because, of course, one has to calculate and be very accurate there. But I'll be looking at it like in terms of general considerations, yeah, sort of assessing, even though it is a very sharp position. So let's go into it. So Chola Musonda had white and Metfi Rogov had black. So they go down normal route. And here the normal move is castles. Which invites Rai Lopez. Okay, D3, pawn to D3 has been played recently to try and cut out some responses. But Chola Musonda plays D4. Interesting move. But what is interesting about this move is that theoretically, it's not known to offer white an advantage, but it can work as a surprise. If someone does not know that this variation is coming, then of course one can spring a surprise. But generally, if one is expecting it, normally white will not get a lot. Pawn takes pawn is the main line. Castles, bishop b7, rook e1. This is theory. b5, yes. Bishop b3, d6. This is the main theory. Yeah, notice now, of course, that white cannot take the pawn back. Knight takes pawn, there'll be knight takes knight, queen takes knight, c5 and c4, trapping the bishop. So black plays, yeah, there are some lines where black plays pawn to c3, but nobody believes this because black's position is very solid. There are no weaknesses really. So bishop d5 is a normal move. Knight takes pawn and then knight e5, knight takes d4. This is a known position. And in this position, we can tell that Metfi is caught off guard, sort of, because he plays the move bishop to d7. Yeah, bishop d7 is just not necessary in this position. Theoretically, black is supposed to play castles, yeah. The point of castles is that f4 looks very threatening, but black has got bishop g4 in this position. Bishop g4, and white will battle to find the right move. Queen d2, I think knight c4. I'm trying to remember here. Then white plays queen f2. Then you are supposed to play, I think, bishop h4 first. Then if g3, then bishop f6, and the black is supposed to be splendid here. As we can see, of course, white has got many weaknesses. Already, black has got two bishops, and the white squares are very weak. And of course, it's not forceful for white to play like this. And f4, but nonetheless, I'm just showing this variation to show that f4 is not a threat. F4 is not a thing. So, because once you know the theory of bishop g4, knight c4, and this, you of course, after you castle black, white normally plays knight c3 here, but black has very little to worry about. Anyway, Metfi plays bishop d7. Now, this makes the game to be very random in a way that white now gets exactly what they wanted, which is the surprise thing, value of the position, and white now plays f4. So knight g6 is played, and knight c6. So it is clear then from the opening that white has got just a better position. Simple. Takes, pawn takes, castle. Okay, before. Of course, if black castles, Metfi is now worried about knight c3, and the knight lands on d5, and then you cannot get out alive in this position as black. It's a very bad position. So he tries the move before, but black is kicking around, but white is better in this position and comfortably so. So yeah, here I was watching this live. Yeah, he played queen d4, I think, yes, which I think for me is not a good move. Simple, not a good move. Because okay, he's going pawn grabbing. Of course, the pawn on g7 is not protected, and the pawn on b4 is hanging. So queen d4, but now you're going to move the queen 2 times, and then at least 3 times, because you're going to go queen d4, castles, queen takes b4, and black maybe plays d5 or rook b8, then you move the queen again. But look at your pieces, the rook, the knight, nothing developed. And we're still, f4 signals that the second rank is a little bit weak. Because, f4 is not a move that white would have gladly liked to play. White would love maybe to play this position if possible, yeah? Then, okay, I can gladly go queen d4 and take and go pawn grabbing. But with the pawn on f4, there are already some weaknesses long term in white's position. So queen d4, I really don't value much. I think it is just simply a bad move. White should play maybe a3 here, yeah? Try to get things going. And possibly black plays a5, okay. And okay, we develop normally, yeah? Find a way to develop, who knows, queen f3 or queen f3 knight d2. And white should hold, because if I play queen f3, I want to safeguard my pawn as well, right? White has an advantage, small, but nice. Advantage that white can maintain. We played queen d4 in this position. Queen d4, yeah, going pawn grabbing. Castles is almost forced. Queen takes b4, d5 with tempo, and then plays queen a5. So let us now take stock in this position, and let us say what is happening. Well, now white has won a pawn, but it's not a comfortable pawn to have won. White is in some patterns. The king is open. Another pattern is that the queen on a5 and the rook on e1 are on the same diagonal. So a bishop b4 is screaming to be played. What does white want? White wants to move to develop the bishop, yeah, the pieces generally. So Metfi plays rook b8. This is a very nice move, and when I saw rook b8, I got excited because I thought, okay, this is now a Metfi position, and Metfi is going to do Metfi things, yeah? Because, he's going to play with initiative, absolutely. He's going to he doesn't care about pawns. Pawns are not important in this particular position because it's about the position of the king, yeah? At the end of the day, you can be 5 pawns up, but when you are checkmated, the game is over. Those are the rules of the game. Done. So I like rook b8. Idea of rook b8, of course, is to play bishop to b4, yeah? And the bishop cannot move out. Knight c3 is running into some issues because I would play bishop b4 and then maybe d4, So he plays rook d1. I think it's a bad move. I really don't understand how Medfit did not win this game with this quality of moves. I'm not attacking Mr. Chola Musonda here, but it's just bad move after bad move after bad move, bad decision making. Yeah, completely in this completely bad decision making. I mean, white is not developed at all, and white goes for another pawn. I mean. Completely. I don't rate this move at all. Rook d1, and it continues. Metfi plays bishop to b4. Okay, it's okay, yeah, this move. Queen takes a6, because, okay, the point is that queen takes d5 is, I guess, not scary at all, because maybe I have the move queen e7. And now you see I stop bishop e3 and I'm threatening rook d8, and you have problems with your back rank. And I have bishop c5 check coming, and this is not looking great for white. I have rook b5 maybe coming in some positions. It's not really a nice position. But okay, it took on a6, queen f6. I was expecting a knockout here, truth be told. After when I saw this position, I said, okay, knockout is coming. Yeah, a knockout is coming. And now queen f1. Yeah, Mr. Musonda is resetting his pieces there nicely. Next step is to put them in the box. No, first he puts them all nicely in the first rank, and then next is to pack them away in the box. I mean, yeah, it cannot be serious type of thing. When I looked at this, I was shaking my head. Yeah, cannot be serious. Yeah. Okay, rook e8 is normal. Just bring pieces into the game. The thing is that, when I look at this game, I immediately understand that Mr. Chola Musonda is a good player, of course, but he has not, his chess education is not complete. He has not looked at classical games, yeah? I mean, if you look at games, for example, starting with the games of Paul Morphy and the Romantic era, there's no way you're going to be chasing the pawns like this. These are the type of positions where you don't have to calculate to know that you've gone wrong. You don't. You see, the point is that I think Mr. Chola Musonda does not see a refutation, so he goes into this and is confident. But it's the position is strategically lost. Okay, knight goes to d2. Sensible to put the knight on f3. Knight is f4. Okay, is sensible. Knight f3 is played. Knight e2 check. Yeah, okay. Starting from here, and I saw this. I was watching the footage, and I think Metfi here starts to be a little bit nervous because he understands that. I think this is my assessment. He understands that, okay, the point is in the bag, and once the point is in the bag, the tournament is in the bag. Because remember, he had 6 out of 6 here. Yeah? So if he wins this one, he would have 7 out of 7. I mean, he'd be 1.5 points ahead of his next rivals. So, I think here he started to show some nervousness, should we call it? Because I don't understand. Okay, 92 check is not a bad move, but why? Why 92 check, Okay, so let's say, okay, does black want to take on f4? Okay, fine. But okay, logically, why don't I play, let's say bishop c5 check, right? So the king must go to h1. Okay, I want to play this position. Well, I'm tempted, I'm looking at, for example, knight h5, knight g3, and queen to the h file, but it doesn't work nicely. Because if I play knight h5, I guess bishop g5 is coming, right? Okay, but if you move your bishop, can I? Okay, but maybe now. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I don't need bishop c5. Okay, one needs to think here, but I just feel that to me it looks very, very promising. Maybe bishop c5 check is not a move I should play because I have the check in reserve, right? I need to find some idea. Okay, I'm not sure. But yeah, one needs to find some idea here. So 92 check anyway, king h1, and then queen takes c6. Yeah, it's a question. Is the pawn relevant? I mean, Metfi, that is feeling the pressure. Without the pressure, Metfi would be doing Metfi things here. And Metfi thinks the way what we've seen from Metfi is not to worry about the pawn on c6. Okay, queen takes c6 is fine, but somehow I feel like I'm moving my queen out of action. So okay, let us say I analyze the position here. I say, okay, which piece is not attacking nicely? The rook on b8 is not so nice, right? Rook on b8 is a little bit out of the game. Okay, white has got problems with the back rank. So I would want to play, let's say rook e4, rook e8. That would be my first choice. But maybe if I play rook e4, then bishop g5 may come with tempo. So let's say I play against the bishop, right? Let's say I play, for example, h6. Not a nice move. Maybe there's better, but I want to play h6 anyway as a prophylactic move. And then I'm saying sort of, what will you play? In a sense that if the bishop moves, b2 may hang, and b2 c2 may hang. It is it's an interesting idea. Is h6 and okay, I don't know. You can't take on d5 because you have back rank issues. Anyway, queen takes c6 cannot do too much damage. I was still okay here. I mean, looking at this, but here he plays queen a6. I didn't like this move. I didn't like queen a6 at all because queen a6 you are self-pinning. Queen a6. Why would you self-pin like this? Unmetfi-like. This is not a Metfi things type of chess. If we, so I mean, Metfi position is to get the pieces going. So okay, so now the knight is hanging. I cannot do anything. So the next move, okay, knight takes c1 then. Why don't I play this move? So my idea is that maybe I can take on b2, right? You know, yeah, possible. This is maybe possible, and I will have maybe some compensation like this. I don't know what white plays. Does white take on e8? Check. Yeah, if I take with the rook, you take on c1, and maybe not so nice. Do I take with my queen then? Maybe. So if you take with your rook, I take on b2, right? And then a2 hangs, and I'm on the second rank, and. So if you take with your queen, maybe I jump into the second rank with queen e2. Something like this. Okay, the sequence of moves is a question, but for me, this is more like to the point, more compensation, long-lasting compensation for black, nice position. Yes, white has got, of course, a pawn, and if white gets going, it will be fine. But there are so many moves before white can get going. There's b4. Let's say I play bishop pieces a4. Then I get ready. Let's say I play h5. Then I put my rook on e8, and then even if you do play a5, I play bishop a7. It's still very difficult for you to really set the pawns going. But then I'm close to your king. Yeah. So anyway, I think roundabout here he shows signs of nervousness, Metfi. Then he plays queen a6. b4, and you see now that self-pin comes to bite him. Bishop f4. Now white is getting out now. Possibly white is out in this position already. And then he blunders even a pawn. Bishop takes c7. And then he plays rook c8. It's already, I mean, surely you have to go here. I mean, double the rooks, but here he's obviously going wrong, unfortunately. Rook c8, and then he misses this move, knight g5. And yeah, it comes from the self-pin, because if you take on c7, it takes on e4. Now here in this position, Chola Musonda starts to play well. Yeah. Rook e7, and then queen f5. G6, queen h3, f6, b5. Yeah. It takes on e2. Of course, you cannot take on e2 because of h7. And knight e6, rook e1. And okay, we have this position, and okay, certainly, I think white is slightly better because white has got queen and knight. against the king. But also, okay, okay, white also has a problem on the back rank. Yeah, I mean, okay, Matthew plays rook c6. I think this move is just simply unfortunately blunder. But I mean, okay, he can play like think that's rook d7. Yeah, I mean, okay, what's the big deal? And just play this position. Yeah. Possibly a draw is an outcome that is a very likely outcome in this position. Yeah. Some things to sort out, but I don't. There's no reason for black to lose this position. That's what I would think. Yeah. Rook c6 is just a howler, possibly a time trouble. Yeah, induced. Knight g5, and then of course because of queen a7, he forgot about queen h7, and then does this and nice move check. Yeah, the problem now is that you gotta go king h8, because if you go king h6, white has got queen c1 check first, defending the rook and then takes the queen. Yeah, so you can't go king h8 and then that was it. Yeah, yeah, he played on, but he could have resigned here. And so yeah, okay, a game that is filled, we cannot criticize the players too much, because the tension, we can see it's a very tension-filled game, but in terms of quality of the game, both players played badly. Let's put it that way. Yeah, but it's the nerves. Yeah. I think White played horribly in the opening, quick chasing pawns and not developing his pieces, and should have been punished. And then in the critical moment, Metfi, of course, because of the tournament situation, because I think for a second he lost focus. I always, it's not only me saying this, it's a fact. When you play chess and you think of results, that's when in many cases you blunder. You should play to enjoy, you should play because you want to play chess. So I think for that moment, the result was more important than the game for Metfi. He started to think more about the result. Oh, if I win this game, I'm almost winning the tournament. I'm 1.5 points ahead, blah, blah, blah. And then he lost concentration, because, why I'm saying that is that, this is a player who plays in serious tournaments, E4 with white. Okay, let me show you quickly why I'm saying this. Medfi is a type of player. He's a type of player who does what I call Metfi things. Like, for example, he plays things like these. Sorry, he plays things like these. He plays before. In a tournament game, he just gives a pawn to get, not just gives a pawn, but sacrifices a pawn for the center, and he plays without caring about material, and he plays just beautiful chess. So the position afforded him that opportunity, but he just couldn't take it. In my assessment, purely because of the pressure in terms of seeing the finishing line already. Okay, that was that. And then there were no other really interesting big results in round 7. Then let's jump over now to round 8. Round 8 happened in the later round of the day. And now this time, Metfi plays white. We're gonna stay still on board 1, and Metfi plays white. He plays against Keith Kumalo. Yeah, let's have a look at the game. Yeah, so Metfi plays E4. It's a Sicilian. Knight C6. He plays Bishop B5. Queen B6. Okay, Knight C3. E6. He takes on C6. Plays D4. Castles A6. Rook E1. So normal-ish position. And okay, Bishop C5, Bishop G5, and F6. Yeah, F6 is it's interesting, but certainly risky. Yeah, but okay, it's not without. It's not that it's going crazy. The threat is 95. Yeah, There's a big threat of knight d5 here in this position. Like for example, let's make a move, just some random move. Let's say b5. Knight d5, white can consider playing immediately. If pawn takes knight, check. This is serious stuff. Yeah, it's obviously extremely serious. I mean, if you block, I play knight f5, and what will you play here? King. Yeah, this is just asking to be knocked out, asking for trouble. Yeah, I mean, maybe I can play. Uh, I'm thinking about knight f5 because you will then play possibly d6. Um, yeah, another very interesting idea here is to play yeah, well, maybe d6. Maybe this is also an idea, just to make sure that you don't get out. I don't know. Because if you play queen takes, I will play queen f3. And if you play bishop takes d6, I don't care about h2. Once again, we have this a similar theme, yeah? Like the first game, where you are not really out with your pieces. Like if I play knight f5 or something like this, Uh, yeah, you could have some problems. I will play next queen d4. Uh, it's not comfortable at all for black. Yeah, I think black could be in serious trouble there already. Anyway, so we understand why Keith plays here pawn to f6. Yeah, and okay, bishop f4 is played. Okay, this is interesting because if queen takes f4, Metfi already starting to do Metfi things. Yeah, then we have queen h5 check. Because we have patterns, yeah. It's open in the bishop on g6, and it's a very a nice idea, and in order to understand these positions, you have to look at classics, and a game I can direct you viewer if you feel like you're not 100% sure what's happening here or comfortable, go look at the game that was played between Alekhine against Levenfish. Yeah, go check in your database. Alekhine versus Levenfish. Alekhine in this game against Levenfish, he sacrifices his pawn uh, on e4. He lets Levenfish play bishop b4, take on c3, but Levenfish also has this structure where the plus squares are exposed and Alekhine just explodes on them. So that's what's going to happen here in this position. I mean, I don't know. There's just going to be an explosion into the black squares, and there's no way that black can survive this position. The king will have to stay in the center, and I play rook d1, e5, and I just take the black squares 94, 96, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be a game over very soon, of course. So, okay, both players understand this, and Keith plays e5, knight d5. Okay, safe to say that Keith is in some trouble here in this position, yeah? He plays queen b8. He has to be careful, yeah? Because, I mean, if you play something like queen d8, you could be you could run into some bishop e5, maybe in some positions like this bishop e5 or knight f5. I mean, everything looks good for white. So queen b8 plays knight. He's playing with tempo now. Knight b3, b6, knight takes c5, bishop b3. So white has got a big advantage. King f7, rook d1, queen c6, b4 looks normal, queen e2. Yeah, so he has a big advantage here, Metfi. And once again, I was expecting him to put him away. Now, I don't remember where, because I was looking, and then at some point, according to the computer, because I was just watching, the evaluation bar, there's somewhere where it dropped, where Metfi made a mistake. So I don't, as I said, maybe we'll find it here together. So rook b1, it makes sense to play rook b6, bishop takes, and queen d6. Okay. So now he plays queen c4. Yeah, this makes sense. But, I'm starting to feel now that maybe I would like to go faster. Faster, faster, faster. For example, I don't know, instead of queen c4, I don't know, why is this pawn on c5 so important? Why don't I play f4? Just blast open everything, f4. You know, because I want to take, the thing is that you cannot move your knight so easily, yeah, because I will take on e5 and then play rook f1 check. And taking on f4, oof, this is what I would welcome because I open up now. So first maybe I play rook b7 check. You play knight e7 and I take on f4 and you can resign, yeah? For example. I'm not saying that black is forced to take on f4, but I'm just saying that this looks like lights out soon, yeah? So anyway, queen c4, I don't think it's also rook c8, f4 now, okay, good. But now you see, black has got a little bit of time. So I think this queen c4 was, again, hesitating Metfi, which, again, for me, I'm sensing nervousness. Because Metfi normally, you can tell, he's playing, but then he's thinking about material. But for an attacking player, this is a bad sign, yeah? An attacking player should not think about material. You want to attack. That's what you want to do. You want to attack. So, yeah, queen c4, he loses a bit of time here. And I think in this position, what's happening here? Let's take stock. I mean, here I think that I don't see why Keith should lose this position. Why? Yeah, it's okay. It's a difficult position, nonetheless, because you are playing. What's the word I'm looking for? You'll be playing bishop against knight, and the bishop normally is quite good when there are pawns on both sides of the board. So bishop f2, rook e8 is logical. Yeah, this is fine. Rook e2. But was it necessary to play rook e2? I mean, why don't I play 94? You know what I mean? 94, just defend the pawn. This looks very straightforward to me. My idea is very simple. I mean, if you play bishop takes c5 now, then mean, I cannot lose this position. I play my rook to e2, and this should be an easy draw because my rook stays there. D2 there, and this is a draw. So yeah, it looks to me like 94 in this position. So anyway, gives a pawn like this. This is not necessary to be doing all this. And the funny thing is that Keith is ahead of time here. I was looking at it, he's like 30 minutes ahead and Metfi is in trouble, but Keith is playing faster than Metfi. Yeah, that cost Keith, I guess. Yeah, check. And yeah, this position, okay, now white is out with the king, slightly better for white. But again, no reason to lose this position for black here. Check. Knight f4. Yeah, check. King f5. Yeah. Yeah. This, okay. There's nothing happening, yeah. Check, king of thing. Black is active enough. Okay. This is a draw, yeah. Complete draw, yeah. Completely. I mean, this is a completely drawn position here. I mean, and for the life of me, I don't understand how Keith can take on h2 because you count. You can count the moves. I mean, here you just play, I guess, a5. Why don't you just play a5, a4? And, you know, I mean, seems straightforward to me. I mean, yeah, but rook h2, I mean, why go into this? I mean, this is madness, right? This is complete madness. I mean, why go into, I mean, if you're a dear viewer, you have an option to go into that madness or to play, excuse me, here. Yeah, okay, maybe rook h2 even is not necessary. Then, yeah. Why does he play rook h2 even? So he wanted to take on h2. Oh, okay, Can maybe already play a5, man. What's wrong with this? Let's push a5 and then push the pawn and then come back here. The king is active enough. And the thing is that if you think about it logically, if for some reason, okay, I'm not saying these are the moves that would come, but I'm just illustrating a point, right? Let's say, I'm just going to illustrate a point. Let's say here, this position, um, whatever. I want to get to, well, I want to get to the point where the pawn goes and I come with my rook and then I'll at some point I'll take with my king here and then I sack the rook and it's a draw. You know, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I mean, there's no need for one to lose this position, especially if one has 30 minutes. One has, can sit down and calculate it. But okay, Keith, for some reason, maybe nervousness, he goes into this. This is completely lost. Yeah, I mean, don't have to. He's gonna get himself checkmated, and unfortunately, that was that for Keith. Anyway, so we have a very interesting situation here. We have Metfi winning the round. So he has 7 points out of 8. Jan Carsten beat Jack. So Jan Carsten has got 6.5 out of 8. So half a point behind, yeah. And so, yeah, but you know, many players have been played. So it becomes very interesting in terms of who's going to play, who's going to stop McPhee type of thing, you know, if at all. Yeah, so McPhee has played many of the seeds already. So it's going to be very interesting who he gets and also who Jan gets. So, but nonetheless, we are going to be looking at this with some interested you know thing. Then in the women's section, Julia Gokbulut won. So she has 8 points. Wow, brilliant. Nicely played. I think she's won the tournament already. She has 8 out of 8. Brilliant. No one can catch her. And I think she's going to try and go for 9. Why not? She's playing excellently. And yeah, so for that's that. And we are waiting for tomorrow. And we will see what will happen. Let me just check. Is the pairing up? I don't know. Sometimes it does take a while before the pairing is posted, but sometimes it's posted pretty quickly. Give me 2 seconds, dear viewer. I want to check here and to see if the pairing has been posted for tomorrow's round. Indeed, it has been. Let's have a look at what is happening. So Charlton Myasta with 5 points plays against Metvirogov. Now, this is an interesting one because the last tournament, Charlton beat Metfi in a wild, chaotic game. So a very interesting matchup. Then on board 2, Jan Carsten plays against Miguel Sergio. We could not ask for a better opponent for Jan, I think. Miguel Sergio has been playing very, very well and unlucky in some rounds. But now he comes up. He's going to be a useful contender, you know. Then we've got, but on board 3, something interesting. We've got Musonda Chola. Mr. Chola Musonda beat his countryman. He beat the IM, Captain Charlie. So now what is happening is that if at all, you see, he beat a Chilean Bwalia, Chola Musonda. So he's got 6.5. So there's a scenario where he could win the tournament. So, for example, let's say Charlton beats Rogov. So Rogov has 7, yeah? Stays on 7. And then Jan Carson against Miguel, let's say it's a draw. Then Carson makes 7. And then Musonda Chola he plays against Banele Mwango. Not easy. But let's say he beats Banele, he's got 7.5 and he wins the event. Oof. So a lot to look at. These 3 boards are going to be very interesting, and I will certainly be keeping a close eye on them. And yeah. So yes, dear viewer, I cannot wait. And yeah, till tomorrow, then we will look at the what's happening in the last round. That should be very, very exciting. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed this, and please do comment, like, share, subscribe, and all the above. And till we meet next time, I will then bid you farewell here, and I will say checkmate.